Our selection today is There Is No Other Name.
The Oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things, have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. That all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Messiah also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. As we read in the oracles, I stand and knock if any man will open and then welcome Yahweh, then Yahweh will sup with him and he with Yahweh. But then there is a decision that we have to make. It does matter if we open the door, and it matters how we open the door. When you get a unsuspecting knock at the door, even when you open it, you open that door a little funny because you don't know the individual on the other side. If you're not welcoming unto that individual, then it's going to affect how they try to sup with you from that point on. You open the door and stand in front of the door, they already know that you ain't welcome them in. You open the door, but you ain't step out the way. See, when you want somebody to come in, you open the door and you move to the side. Hey, that's Eliel, I know him. You step to the side, come on in. But when somebody open the door and then stand right there in front of it, they don't intend on you coming in. So a lot of times people say that they have opened the door unto Yahweh. But did you move out the way? You opened the door, but you stood right there. And when you open the door and then stand right there, what you're saying is, I'll deal with this word as long as it suits everything that I like, feel, think, and believe. See, you didn't move yourself out the way. You in the way. He can't come in because you in the way. and you have placed yourself in the way. So if you're going to open the door and then step out the way and let him in. Today we're going to go over understanding the trumpets. As you guys know, when we get into this Gregorian calendar month of the 9th month, which is the Hebrew 7th month, Yahweh completing things and letting that, thereby making that number 7 a holy number, we have several holy days that are done in this 7th month. We will be celebrating the Feast of Trumpets on September 17th at sundown, according to their Gregorian calendar day. We know that as far as that 7th month, they added July and August for Julius and Augustus Caesar. If you take those two out, September will then be the 7th month. Matter of fact, Septem means 7, even though it is the 9th month. So when people try to say they don't know when the Sabbath is, they don't know all these times have changed, all we got to do is take out 2 Caesars and we write on Yahweh's same calendar. But yeah, you got so many educated people to say, oh, we can't figure this out. We can't figure this out. You don't know how to take 2 away from 9? What college you went to? They gave you a degree? You can't subtract? That's pretty easy to do. And each one of those names of those months tell a story. September, October, November, December. Septem means 7. Octagon. We watch fights. It's called the octagon, right? It got 8 sides. That ain't hard to figure out. Novem is 9. The decimal system is based on tens. It's 10. So the whole ending part of the year is 7, 8, 9, 10. But the numbers are all 2 off because of the months that they added for the Caesars. Real easy to figure out. So that's what we're dealing with here. Let's begin today in Exodus chapter 19. Exodus chapter 19, and we're going to read verses 10 through 19. See, when we understand what the trumpet is, the voice of Yahweh is inside of or contains the sound of the trumpet. The voice of Yahweh is many things added together. But the trumpet is one of those things that he definitely sets apart. And when you hear that trumpet, then that is a symbol of obedience that we then move. Exodus chapter 19, and let's start at verse 10.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Go unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
You know what? Back up and read verse 9.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Lo, I come unto you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you.
So he's making a display in front of the people so that the people will learn to believe that Moshe was actually called. So Yahweh has a tendency to allow things to happen so he can prove I am the one that called him. No matter how many things they saw, though, you know, they constantly tested Moshe. You see a cloud, you hear somebody talking out of the cloud and the fire. And can't none of us duplicate it. Yet they still question whether or not he was doing the right thing, whether or not he called himself, whether or not his decisions, Yahweh backed him. They questioned him constantly. But he said, I come unto you in a thick cloud that the people may hear when I speak to you and believe you forever. That sign wasn't given for Moshe. That sign was given for Israel. Half believing Israel is what that was made for. Sign seeking Israel is what that was made for. It says the Greeks seek after wisdom. The Jews require a sign. Now we find that in the New Testament. Yahweh knew it in the Old, because he was already dealing with Israel, giving Israel something to see so they would stop testing this man. And really what they're doing is testing that angel. And this is why groups of thousands end up getting killed off. Because as they're trying to test Moshe, they're also testing the angel who was sent to direct them. The angel has a job to do, and no matter what, he is not going to receive a failing report for any of us. There's not one in here that's irreplaceable. Not one. From the top seat all the way down to the bottom. Not one. And the angel is not going to receive a failing report for nobody in here. And that goes for anywhere that Yahweh has set an angel and said, you lead these people to this place. Make sure they know this, 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 and this. And this is what people may not understand. Yahweh may have directed you. Yahweh has many little sanctuaries. No one sanctuary can say that my teaching is 100% right according to Yahweh's word. What it is 100% correct according to the direction of the angel that's leading them. So let's say Yahweh sent you to a place where leaders are supposed to be taught. But we go to that place and say, you know, they teaching too hard. Right, because they're teaching for leaders. So then we go to another place which may be approved by Yahweh. But that's the place where the people who just supposed to wipe the tables get taught. So then you go there and say, ooh, I like they teaching. Yeah, they got advanced table washing. Now you go and you say, ooh, I like advanced table washing. Here's the problem though. But Yahweh had called you to be a leader. And you just gravitated to advanced table washing teaching. Guess what he gonna do to you? Was that an approved congregation? Yes, it was for those individuals. But that's not your job. See, I can't leave the meeting that I'm supposed to be in for my job. See, they got the technicians over here and they got the warehouse guys over there. I can't leave the technician meeting, go to the warehouse meeting, and still think I was approved. No, they're going to call me to the office. Yeah, you was in a meeting. It just wasn't the one you were supposed to be in. But you went to a meeting. No doubt. You definitely went to a meeting. But it wasn't yours. I don't get a pass because I went to a meeting. Just like we won't get a pass because we heard a teaching. Was it the one that I sent for you according to the job that you're going to eventually have? He will not train leaders with a bunch of hot buttered biscuits. Go ahead, bro.
And Moshe told the words of the people unto Yah. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the third day. For the third day Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And you shall set bonds unto the people round about, saying, take heed to yourselves that you go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. There shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether it be beast or man.
Whether it be beast or man, the beast, which either wandered or somebody led the beast. Bottom line, if the beast touched the mountain that Yahweh has descended upon, the beast has now touched Yahweh's seat. Anything that touches Yahweh's seat must be sacrificed. Ain't no conversation. Ain't no where I like this person, so let's not do that. No. The angel not asking. He's not negotiating. He's not doing anything. Go ahead.
It shall not live. When the trumpet sounds long, they shall come up to the mount.
When the trumpet sounds long, you shall move. when it's time to begin service, the trumpet blows. Israel is to be accustomed to moving at the sound of the trumpet. So we're not having a holy day over musical instruments. This is a lot more than a musical instrument. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And Moshe went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be you ready against the third day. Come not at your wives.
Right. There's a sanctification period that allows someone to be in a holier state when it comes down to presenting themselves before Yahweh, to being the presence of Yahweh. So when we have those days where we make our appearance, we are going to sanctify ourselves against the third day, so that we are on a different level spiritually when we then make an appearance before Yahweh our Elohim. Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud.
All of that. Okay? All of that is Yahweh beginning to speak. Thunders, lightning, a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud. This ain't that Kenny G. No. The voice of this trumpet is exceeding loud. You hear this and you don't know whether or not you're going to run left or right, but you finna go somewhere. See, it's that kind of sound. See, some of y'all from the islands and from Florida, y'all done heard that hurricane horn. That's not a horn that make you want to slow dance with your wife. That when you hear that, you ain't getting ready to slow dance. You getting ready to move. When it wax louder and louder, and consider now, it says, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud. Very next thing, so that all the people that was in the camp tremble. We read that, I don't think we understand that this sound is so loud, it scares grown warrior men. We have turned this into a little marching band here. And we don't understand how serious this is. This is all of these sounds coming together and Yahweh calling them. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And Moshe brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the nether part of the mount.
Now consider, they were already shaking when they heard the sound, but then they had to walk toward the sound. That's not instinct. Instinct tell you if the sound, we that way, we as fast as possible. He said, no, we going this way. But that's where the loud sound coming from. Yeah, I know. That's where we going. That's that part you have to learn when dealing with Yahweh, that your instincts are not always right. I know that's shocking to some of y'all, that your instinct can be wrong. Instinct tell you when you hear something exceeding loud that you are afraid, don't go to it. That's that thing that we watch, the people get ate up in the movie. They say something, oh my God, that's peculiar. And then they walk right toward the thing. Yeah, automatically being black folk, man, don't go in there. Don't go in there. They finna go in the door. He finna eat up. She finna get ate up. Well, Yahweh put this together on purpose. You're going to hear this loud, exceeding sound. But come here. That fear is respect. There's a certain amount of that fear that's supposed to be there. Because guess what? You're going to be cautious as to how you approach when you're already trembling. And being sanctified against the third day is what allows you to come near and not die. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke because Yahweh descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long, and waxed louder and louder, Moshe spake, and Elohim answered him by a voice.
All right. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moshe spake, and Elohim answered him by a voice. So we see that this trumpet is the calling of Yahweh our Elohim. When Yahweh is going to warn the people, he told them, blow a trumpet. When you're going to gather the people, blow a trumpet. When you're going to go to war, blow a trumpet. When you want to rejoice in your great days, blow a trumpet. So we have several things that are then going on there. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus 23. And we're going to read verses 23 through 25.
Verse 23. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall you have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation.
So when we keep the Feast of Trumpets, September 17th at sundown, that day will be a Sabbath, the beginning of the month. It is then beginning this 7th month. Yahweh rested the 7th day. In the 7th month, he then has several holy days that will take place. So our 7th month is a pretty busy month. Go ahead.
You shall do no servile work therein.
Servile work is work you get paid for. Go ahead.
But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh.
All right. So then we have this memorial of blowing of trumpets and understanding when Yahweh called the children of Israel, there is this trumpet that is within the voice of Yahweh Elohim, so that when we keep the memorial of blowing the trumpets, it is not just the situation of the trumpet. It is about hearing the direction of Yahweh our Elohim. That's what we have to deal with the memorial of the blowing of trumpets. Let's go to Numbers chapter 10. Numbers chapter 10, and we're going to read verses 1 through 10.
Verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Make you 2 trumpets of silver. Of a whole piece shall you make them, that you may use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps.
So with all of these things that the children of Israel have gathered coming out, they have gotten their reparations. So with their reparation money, they can afford a lot of fancier things for the official business. So they have 2 trumpets of silver for their official calling, but then we know that they also have the trumpets of ram's horns. Go ahead.
And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to you at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And if they blow but with 1 trumpet, then the princes, which are the heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto you. When you blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward. When you blow an alarm the 2nd time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, you shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. And if you go to war in your land against the enemy that oppressed you, then you shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and you shall be remembered before Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall be saved from your enemies.
Right. So then the calling then to Yahweh, even in the system of oppression, is that we then blow with the trumpet when we are about to go to war because we are being oppressed. Go ahead.
Also in the day of your gladness,
Uh-huh.
and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
Right. Let's go to the next graphic, brother. I want you to read that note there in Joshua chapter 6.
Joshua chapter 6 and verse 4. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day you shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets.
So then we have this situation to even bring forth the righteous judgment of Yahweh our Elohim. You have 7 priests with 7 trumpets, and they're doing this on the 7th day of this siege, and they're going to go around it 7 times. So you have the holy number of 7 going several times, and you have these trumpets, which is calling Yahweh our Elohim. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn.
And when you understand the ram, you understand that a ram is a male sheep. And when you talk about who Yahshua was in being that offering, you find out this is something that is offered on Yahweh's altar. So then it makes a difference what animal horn we use. So you have many people that will show up with that kadu and think that it is okay. That's an antelope that cannot be offered on Yahweh's altar. That's wild game. You can hunt it, you can eat certain, antelope, but as far as offering, the blood of that animal is not offered on Yahweh's offer, on his altar. The ram is. So you have a connection there that it matters what horn you blow. You can't just blow a horn because you found one. Go ahead.
And when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram horns before the ark of Yahweh.
Right. So then you deal with this, and with the sound of the trumpet, you then have the wall of the city shall then fall down. But then you think about what happened when they presented themselves before Yahweh. All the sound, the thunder, the cloud, and the earth quaked. So within this whole thing, then Yahweh then shows Israel that this deliverance that I'm going to give you is above and beyond anything that you can do with your natural hands. And I think that's what's confusing to people. We try to look at situations and wonder how somebody is able to do something that it doesn't seem like they should be able to do, because that's what the Spirit does. They are then overtaking this situation not merely because they have more physical might, calling upon Yahweh, all of those things, the sound, the ground shaking. Once the wall is down, their defenses are completely gone. Let's go to Judges chapter 6. Like I'm out of order here. My graphic look like it's out of order, but mine changes here. Should be at Judges chapter 6 and Let's start that at verse 11.
And there came an angel of Yahweh and sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites.
This is what happens when we don't do the things that we're supposed to do. Then Yahweh puts us in a situation of captivity. We are then being ruled over people by other individuals, and now he is hiding wheat from the people who rule over Israel. Because if they find the stuff, they're going to take it. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him, and said unto him, Yahweh is with you, you mighty man of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Adonai, if Yahweh be with us, why then is all this befallen us?
Right. Mighty man of valor. I don't feel like a mighty man of valor. I'm hiding wheat. And you come to me talking about I'm a mighty man. What kind of mighty man you seen sneaking wheat? I'm a wheat sneaker. But see, the angel of Yahweh deals with you based on what you shall be, not what you are right now. That's the problem with some of us. We cannot see past what we are right now. Go ahead.
And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of?
They don't believe this. Where are all the miracles that we used to hear about? Go ahead.
Saying, did not Yahweh bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahweh has forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites.
Right. And let me tell you something. Typically with us, when we are in a situation, we completely forget about all of the things that got us to the situation. Where's our God? Why am I going through this? Such and such and such and such. You remember when you was when Israel decided that they were going to stop worshiping Yahweh and worship these pagan gods over here? That's when this course of action was given. We ain't thinking about none of that. All we're thinking about is our current situation right now at this present time. Woe is me, why me? Go ahead.
And Yahweh looked upon him and said, Go in this your might, and you shall save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent you? And he said unto him, O my Adonai, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house.
And this should show you something about how Yahweh chooses men. I am poor, and I am the least of the poor. I am hiding wheat, by the way. Okay, you come to talk to me, mighty man of valor, while I am hiding wheat. And then he says these great things to him. But he can't get past where he is right now physically. This is what I am. No, that ain't. That ain't what you shall be. You can't get stuck on what you are and think that this is what you always gonna be. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto him, Surely I will be with you, and you shall smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, If now I have found grace in your sight, then show me a sign that you talketh with me.
Israel require. It didn't say Israel seek. Israel require a sign. Go ahead.
Depart not hence, I pray you, until I come unto you, and bring forth my present, and set it before you.
Do you understand that when you're dealing with holy things, that you do not show up before a great king empty? Depart not thence, I pray, until I come unto you and bring forth my present and set it before you. And he said, I will tarry until you come again. Go ahead.
And Gideon went in and made ready a kid and unleavened cakes of an ephah of flour. The flesh he put in a basket, and he put the broth in a pot, and brought it out unto him under the oak, and presented it. And the angel of Elohim said unto him, Take the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and lay them upon this rock, and pour out the broth. And he did so.
Right, pour out the broth. You can't do that. That's got blood in it. That's got stuff from you cooking it. Pour that out. That ain't acceptable. But the unleavened cakes, see, these things that we do, that we find in the law, you will then be surprised to find that the angels do those same things. Even when it says that they ate manna, which was this corn from heaven, it says man did eat angels' food. So when we talk about these things here, if we follow what we're supposed to be following, the same things are happening in heaven. Go ahead.
Then the angel of Yahweh put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand, and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes. And there rose a fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the angel of Yahweh departed out of his sight.
Right. See, the angel knew that broth wasn't going to be consumed. Pour that out. Don't sit that on the rock. The things that are acceptable, bring that, sit it on the rock. That will be consumed by Yahweh Elohim. That other stuff, pour out. You got to do the same thing in your life. There's certain things that's going to be acceptable unto Yahweh. There's other things you're going to have to pour out. And it's up to you to figure out what those things are. See, when the angel stepped away from Joshua, because somebody else done grabbed the accursed thing and brought it among Israel, the angel just stopped going. He trying to figure out why Israel all of a sudden that was winning battles, all of a sudden they dying. He on his knee crying. Yahweh let him cry all day. Then asked him, why you on your knees crying? Why don't you know what's wrong? Israel has taken up the accursed thing and put it among their stuff. And unless you go get it, I will be with you no more. So all them promises, all those other things, all of those are cut off if you don't get that cursed thing out from among you. Now understand, these people know each other very, very well. Do we have the power to remove the cursed thing when we are close to the cursed thing? Because if you don't, all Israel die. So are you willing to sacrifice all Israel for your personal feeling about the cursed thing? This is not just a rhetorical question. You need to keep that in your heart and mind as you walk this walk, because we may encounter that several times. All right? And when Yahweh said, hey, there ain't no pass and go until you take care of this business, what you gonna do? You gonna let your house get destroyed? Or you gonna get rid of the cursed thing? Go ahead.
You know, even in this situation, we see Gideon, even though he's got his disbeliefs about what's going on, he's still following instructions.
Mm-hmm.
He's told to pour out the broth. He may not even understand why.
Right.
He was told to put it on the rock, and he still probably don't understand. He said, put it on this rock. What is the altar made out of?
Stone. But see, how many of us would have started asking questions at that point? Why you want me to put this on the rock? Why you want me to pour out the broth? There's good stuff in there. We die before the angel even get killed. Kill him. Go get somebody else. And y'all were like, what happened? He kept asking me questions, so I just set him on fire.
He became the sacrifice.
Okay. I'll find another one. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of Yahweh.
When Gideon perceived. See, up to this point, understand the respect level of, it says be careful, for some of you have entertained angels unawares. In the beginning of some of these encounters, it just looks like a man talking to a man. Okay? And at some point, you start to witness something don't seem regular about this man. Understand, if he had some big old wings, Gideon wouldn't have to perceive. I perceive that something is strange with this individual. Why? Because he flew. And the wings jumped out of his back like on television. Right. No. He's having to look at this situation. And there's other situations that you read about in this book the same way. They said he had a bright countenance about him. And my heart burned with me while we spoke. Well, no miraculous other stuff jumping out. Some of these people didn't know that they were talking to an angel until the conversation was over. Until after the conversation was over and the person disappeared. They'd be like, uh-oh. It's too late to backtrack that conversation. What if you done said something nasty? The whole conversation. Then you realize that that was an angel after you have been your normal hellacious self. Ain't no taking those words back. You don't have to answer for those words. Go ahead.
Gideon said, Alas, O Erneya, for because I have seen an angel of Yahweh face to face. And Yahweh said unto him, Peace be unto you, fear not, you shall not die. Then Gideon built an altar there unto Yahweh, and called it Yahweh Shalom. Unto this day it is yet an Ophrah of the Abiezrites. And it came to pass the same night that Yahweh said unto him, Take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the grove that is by it.
Okay, understand something. In verse 25, and it came to pass the same night, Yahweh said unto him, Take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock. This one's 7 years old. Oh no, I've been sanctifying this one to pull down the altar of Baal. See, all this was waiting. So even while he's hiding wheat, Yahweh has already said, this is a man of valor, a valiant man. He's going to do this. He don't feel like that at all. The bullock was even prepared for him. He don't even know it. There's stuff that Yahweh probably got sitting by you that you don't even know. Yeah, this is what you're going to do this with. He don't know what that's. Take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the grove that is by it. Now, the next thing we have to understand is everything that Yahweh asks you to do is not going to be glorious. You do know this can get him killed, right? You do know that, right? So I don't think people understand that.
It couldn't be of Yahweh, because if Yahweh would ask you to do something, it's going to be roses and that poopery smell. Because God is love. See, that's all God deal with is love.
This right here could get you killed. And did Yahweh ask him to do it? Yes, he did. And then gave him instructions on how to do it. Take this bullock and pull down the altar. But I'm not done. Take the grove, the Christmas tree. See, this is all Christian stuff right up in here. The grove is the Christmas tree. They always had the grove right next to the altar. He said, then go cut down the tree right next to it. So they had their little Christmas trees right. Where you find the Christmas trees in the Christian church? Where be at? Right beside the altar. Right. Here you go, right here. Here you go. Go ahead.
And build an altar unto Yahweh your Elohim upon the top of this rock, in the order placed. And take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove.
Do you understand what he's doing right here? Now, the same bullock that you pulled down the altar of Baal, you gonna sacrifice that one to me and use the wood from the grove that you cut down beside it. Oh, Yahweh is very specific here, okay? But this kind of stuff could get you killed. So all them people, soon as they get some instruction out the book, they don't like. Oh, they flew it. This man could have just been like, you know what? All this time I've been wanting you to talk to me. And now you talk to me, and now you about to get me killed. How about stop talking to me? Oh, you know what? Never mind talking to me. I've been asking for the wrong thing. Because you just, this is what you say when you start talking? You might as well say, hello, my son. Go get yourself killed. What? What you think these Baal worshipers gonna do? When I done pull down their altar, cut down their tree, sacrifice the bullock, and use the tree to make the fire. Go ahead.
It's not just the Baal worshipers, man. My daddy gonna kill me.
Hey, things don't always turn out. How you think? Keep reading.
Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as Yahweh had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night.
Now, Yahweh didn't tell him what time to do it. Yahweh did not tell him what he saw. Hey, look here. Look here. I'm a nighttime altar knocker over. All right? You understand? I knock down altars in the nighttime. You understand? You understand? That's how we gonna do this. Yahweh gave specific instructions, did he not? All right, do this, get this bullock, knock it down, sacrifice. He did not say, and do it in the daylight. So everybody go take a nap. Because we doing this tonight. Go ahead.
And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it, and the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built.
Ooh, they ticked off now. Go ahead.
And they said one to another, who has done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, has done this thing.
But you see, understand, Gideon has a father who's deep into Baal worship. Wait a minute, wasn't his dad an Israelite? Okay. How many of us wouldn't have moved at all?
Because we don't want to upset mommy or daddy.
Your God get knocked over today, mama. Believe that. About to tip your God over. Go ahead.
Then the men of the city said unto Joash, bring out your son, that he may die. Because he has cast down the altar of Baal, and because he has cut down the grove that was by it. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, will you plead for Baal? Will you save him?
Now understand now, wait a minute now. This is the daddy stuff, remember? But now there's a line that now they saying we're gonna kill your son because he has done this thing. Now the most unlikely person speaks up for him. Go ahead.
He that will plead for him, let him be put to death while it is yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one has cast down his altar.
Now I'm gonna tell you, to pay attention at the hypocrisy of Israel. This was his stuff. Now he questioning God as soon as it has been thrown down. If he be a God, let him answer for himself. You knew he couldn't answer for himself when you were worshiping him. But it was cool because your other friends worshiped him. But now he been knocked over and now they ready to kill your son. You said, hey, if he be a God, let him answer for himself. Well, why you didn't ask that question before you start worshiping him? That's Jake for you. That's Jake. That's how you can have Israel and Jake in the same house. See, some of y'all is Israel in bedroom 1 and it's Jake in bedroom 2. You want to run into Jake? Just go down the hall. Oh, excuse me, Jake. Go ahead.
Therefore on that day, he called him Yerub-Baal.
Check this out. This man has a nickname for the rest of his life. Yerub-Baal. Hey, this is an Israelite and his nickname got Baal in it. A pagan god. So if you don't know no better, you start reading Jerub-Baal.
I don't want to hang out with him. He's a pagan.
No, he was called that because he knocked down Baal's altar. He is forever known by this deed. That's why you need to be careful what it is you do. You could do one thing, and Israel will forever call you by that the rest of your life. What if you do something crazy. Like we grew up with people who had nicknames like Willie Snotty. You can take a wild guess at how he got the name Willie Snotty. You know what I'm saying? It don't take but one time among Israel, and you forever know, hey, Willie Snotty. Ah, man, you know what I'm saying? It's a grown man now. This man 50, 60 years old, and people still walking around, Willie Snotty. Hey, man, come here, bring me that cup over there. Willie Snotty. Hey, if a man did not raise up seed in his house, they said he shall be known as him who have his shoe loose, right? He don't got no name no more.
Shoe loose. Come here, man. Let me talk to you.
Loose shoe, hurry up, man. We're trying to do this. He don't get no name no more. You gotta be careful what you do around Israel. Go ahead.
saying, Let Bob plead against him, because he has thrown down his altar. Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of Yahweh came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet them. And Gideon said unto Elohim, If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor. And if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said. And it was so, for he rose up early on the morrow, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. And Gideon said unto Elohim, Let not your anger be hot against me, and I'll speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray you, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry only upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew. And Elohim did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground.
All right, so now you have Gideon, who now has a pagan name and is then called by that pagan name because of the deed that was done there. Let's go to Judges chapter 7. Keep going.
Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him.
Check it out. Jerubbaal, who is Gideon. And you know us, we'll call a pagan name before we call the real name. Anyway, we do nickname before we do real name. There's some people that you might be around them 20 years and never know their real name. Somebody come up and be like, Sterling. Like, who the hell is Sterling? Stank, that's your real name? Stank, your name Sterling? I ain't know Stank name was Sterling. Go ahead.
And pitched beside the well of Herod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them, by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, The people that are with you are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands. Lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, Mine own hand has saved me.
Mine own hands. And it's that stuff that we get caught up in, thinking that our own hands have done the deeds that Yahweh has allowed for us to do. There's some situation that Yahweh said, you know, I'm going to do something great, but there's too many people here for me to do it. Because then they're going to think they did it. I need the numbers to be better. I need the numbers to be less. That makes it better. That way they know, no, these people should not have been able to do that. Right. Go ahead.
Now therefore go to, proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, Whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead.
First ones you need to let go is the scary ones. Because see, fear is a evil spirit that spreads from individual to individual. Once the fearful start talking, they spread their fear into other individuals. So if you let the fearful stay around you, you're going to, one or two things is going to happen. And I keep telling people, either you influencing that person or that person is influencing you? Are you talking them into not being afraid, or are they talking you into being afraid like they are? You keep hanging around somebody with fear, before you know it, you scared all the time too. What you scared for?
Well, I was been hanging around James, and he's scared of everything.
Yeah, but are you seeing what it's doing to you? Have you paid attention that you're displaying the same characteristics as the individual that you have been around? And then sometimes the people don't see that they are displaying the same characteristics of the individuals that they've been hanging with. That's because you entertaining that same spirit. That spirit of fear that person have, now you start entertaining it. If they have this spirit or that spirit, you keep spending time with it, before you know it, you got it too. Go ahead.
And there returned of the people 20 and 2,000, and there remained 10,000. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down onto the water, and I'll try them for you there. And it shall be, that of whom I say unto you, this shall go with you, the same shall go with you. And of whomsoever I say unto you, this shall not go with you, the same shall not go. So he brought down the people onto the water. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, every one that laps of the water with his tongue, as a dog laps, him shall you set by himself. Likewise every one that bows down upon his knees to drink. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. And Yahweh said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into your hand. And let all the other people go every man onto his place.
Now, these people are now juiced up because somebody in Israel has stood up against the oppressors. They ready to do something. Remember now, the scared done already went home. They got rid of the scary, but there's still too many. These people ready to do something. So this may be a little disheartening. Next thing, when Yahweh calls you to do something, do you make it lighter to fulfill your own personal feelings at that time?
Well, I don't want to just send these people home, because see, they really want to serve Yahweh. Look, how about y'all just stand on this hill over here?
Nah, that's not what he said do. Go ahead.
So the people took victuals in their hand and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man onto his tent, and retained those 300 men. And the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley.
Now, I know when you're reading this, it seemed like, hey, he was tested to Yahweh a little bit.
Get the fleece, and I won't make it wet. You know what? No. This time make the fleece dry, but then make it wet all around it.
But guess what? He went through his questionary situation first. Now he believes Yahweh wholeheartedly. So when Yahweh says, go send the soldiers home, he ain't questioning Yahweh. See, the problem is we didn't ask enough questions in the beginning. So now some people in the middle of their walk, now they questioning this, now they questioning that. No, pay attention. Ask your questions in the beginning. Now his walk is not wavering. He getting ready to fight some people who they should not be able to beat, period. These people have already ruled over Israel, okay? Then Yahweh says send people home. Oh no, you got to be ready in here for you to say, hey man, we finna go, go over here and go against the police department. Like, what? Yeah. All right, well, let me gather up the brothers. No, I don't want you to take nobody but Yez and Rael. What? the kids? The kids? The little ones? Yeah, make sure that one of them got that little Nerf toy that they have. What? What? Oh no, you got to believe in him. You got to believe in him. You got to believe in him. He be like, here comes Suck. He marching up. to the police department with the 2 children and the Nerf toy. No, man, you gotta be right in here. You gotta be right in here and do this here. See, you get that out of the way. So that when it's time to do Yahweh's job, you ain't in the middle asking questions. So you got to act like you believe on your way up there to the police department with them 2 little boys and that Nerf toy. Read, bro.
And it came to pass the same night that Yahweh said unto him, Arise, get you down unto the host, for I have delivered it into your hand. But if you fear to go down, go you with Purah your servant down to the host, and you shall hear what they say, and afterward shall your hands be strengthened to go down unto the host. Then went he down with Purah his servant unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitude, and their camels were without number, as the sand by the seaside for multitude.
Without number. It's too many to count. And he done told you to send people home, though. Now, you know how many people, because, you know, there are many murmurers and complainers among Israel. You know they were talking junk on the way back.
He finna go down there and get killed. I'm sitting there and sending us home. And I'm a better warrior. He kept John. John can't fight. John can't fight. You remember when he got beat up by what your name now? They tore him up. That's who we got. They gonna die. This time tomorrow we're gonna be having a funeral. 300 funerals to be exact. That's Israel. Y'all know we were just lip bumping the whole way. Because first of all, we upset that we wasn't chosen. Okay? So there's a lot of lip smack on the way back. Especially they done left and then they got to go back. And you know, women don't help your ego at times too. So you know, when they come back home, you know, what you doing back? You know, that's like, you know, when a brother come home and he ain't got no job no more, he come home at like 12:30. What you doing here? Huh? Yeah. That's how our conversation had. Well, they sent me back.
Why?
They said what they said. They didn't need us.
They're going against the Midianites. What do you mean they don't need you? What you saying don't make no sense.
Well, that's what they said.
Women don't help you out sometimes. They, you know, saying, hey, that brother doing what he was told. They sent me home, all right? What you want me to say? Go ahead, bro.
Judges chapter 7 and verse 13. And when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, Behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian, and came unto a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it that the tent lay along. And his fellow answered and said, This is nothing else save the sword of Gideon the son of Joash, a man of Israel. For into his hand has Elohim delivered Midian and all the hosts. And it was so, when Gideon heard the telling of the dream, that the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped. Verse 15, and it was so, when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped, and returned into the host of Israel, and said, Arise, for Yahweh has delivered into your hand the host of Midian.
Now, he was encouraged by that. Even though all the other things happened, he was encouraged by that. So, imagine if you then, at a certain point, run into the lip bumpers and the complainers. What would that do to your spirit? And you got a job to do. What would that do to your spirit? If him hearing this at this point, this then helps him. What if he heard something different? Go ahead.
And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand, with empty pitchers and lamps within the pitchers.
Now, you know, there's got to be certain type of men now. Because you know, we got a great battle that we're about to supposedly have. And but you gave all of us trumpets. I mean, were they out of bazookas? You know what I'm saying? Were they, you know what I'm saying? I want a bow and arrow that'll shoot like fire and brimstone. Do you have one of those? Nope, just got these trumpets. That's a wasted tool. I could put. You got a dagger that can hurl, you know, maybe a bag of them or something. No, this is your most important tool. I'll give you some other stuff, but this is your most important tool right here. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Look on me, and do likewise. And behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that, as I do, so shall you do. When I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow you the trumpets also on every side of all the camp, and say, The sword of Yahweh and of Gideon. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came onto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch, and they had but newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers, and held the lamps in their left hands, and the trumpets in their right hands to blow withal. And they cried, The sword of Yahweh and of Gideon. And they stood every man in his place round about the camp, and all the host ran, and cried, and fled. And the 300 blew the trumpets, and Yahweh set every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout all the host. And the host fled to Beth Sheatah in Zererath, and to the border of Abel Meholah, unto Tabbath. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali, and out of Asher, and out of all Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, Come down against the Midianites, and take before them the waters unto Beth-barah and Jordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together, and took the waters unto Beth-barah and Jordan. And they took 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan.
All right, and Yahweh's whole situation was to do this great thing with a small amount of individuals, so he can prove the existence of his great power, so that it would not be said that this was done by some great power that Israel possessed naturally. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 20. But in that, of course, we then see the power that was presented at the blowing of those trumpets.
Second Chronicles chapter 20 and verse 1. It came to pass after this also, that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them other beside the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, There comes a great multitude against you from beyond the sea on the side Syria. And behold, they be in Hazazon Tamar, which is in Jedi. And Jehoshaphat feared, and set himself to seek Yahweh, and proclaimed a fast throughout all Yehudah.
And Jehoshaphat feared, and set himself to seek Yahweh, and proclaimed a fast throughout all Yehudah. So he feared, and instead of just running off at the mouth, he then took some course of action that would help his situation. Go ahead.
And Yehudah gathered themselves together to ask help of Yahweh. Even out of all the cities of Yehudah, they came to seek Yah. And Jehoshaphat stood in the congregation of Yehuda and Jerusalem in the house of Yahweh before the new court, and said, O Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, are not you Elohim in heaven? And ruleth not you over all the kingdoms of the heathen? And in your hand is there not power and might, so that none is able to withstand you? Are not you our Elohim, who did drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham your friend forever? And they dwelt therein, and have built you a sanctuary therein for your name, saying, If, when evil comes upon us, as the sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we stand before this house, and in your presence, for your name is in this house, and cry unto you in our affliction, then you will hear and help. And now, behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom you would not let Israel invade, when they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned from them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say, how they reward us to come to cast us out of your possession, which you have given us to inherit.
Right. So you would not let us invade. Now we got a problem with them same people that you would not let us invade. Go ahead.
O our Elohim, will you not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that comes against us, neither know we what to do, but our eyes are upon you.
We have no might against this great company. There is no possible situation that allows us victory if we just do this thing physically. Go ahead.
And all Yehuda stood before Yahweh with their little ones, their wives, and their children. Then upon Yahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Yael, the son of Mattaniah, a Levite of the sons of Asaph, came the Spirit of Yahweh in the midst of the congregation. And he said, Hearken you, all Yehuda, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, and you King Jehoshaphat. Thus says Yahweh unto you, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but Elohim's.
Now, this is a situation where Jehoshaphat seeks Yahweh because of what's happening. Did you pay attention that Yahweh answers through somebody else? See, we think we self-sufficient.
I don't need nobody else to serve Yahweh. I can serve Yahweh on my own. See, me and Yahweh, we right here. See, can't trust man. Man ain't nobody.
Right. That's what people say when they don't like to follow instructions. Yahweh, one person seeks Yahweh, and Yahweh get an answer to somebody else. But imagine if you don't like to talk to people, though. If you don't like to deal with people. Or if you just think you're better than them people. What if the answer to your question is sitting right over there? And Yahweh said, don't say nothing to them until they come to you. So every day that person just come by you and just look at you. Because they can't say it, because they're trying to follow the instructions that were given to them. So Yahweh said, don't you say a word. But if they ask you, tell them everything I told you. And that person dying to give you the answer. But if you don't want to over and sat in your little corner, and you don't ask, how many years go by that the answer to everything you needed was 3 chairs over, but you wouldn't say nothing? Read, bro.
That's a hard situation to get into when we love to jump out and want to be a helper. As I myself am having to learn to listen to a conversation and then determine, were you asked for help? A person comes and say, you know what, Eliel, man, I'm going through some financial issues, man. My bills are backed up. My mortgage is a couple of months back, man. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I started to just sit there and listen. Okay, man, sad to hear that. You jump out and, you know what, man, I got some money saved. I can help you. couple months down the line, you in a bind, this person done turned and gone, you got to ask yourself, did they ask you for help or did you volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing I'm having to deal with. Don't jump out there. Person can turn around and say, I didn't ask you for help.
Mm-hmm.
You the one put yourself out there.
What the word say? I stretch my hand out all day long to disobedient and gainsaying people. I stretch my hand out and they bite your fingers off. What? I'm trying to help you. And now I got these nubs because they done bit my right. That's how Jake will do you.
Mm-hmm.
Israel ain't gonna do you like that, but Jake will.
Hmm.
That's it, brother. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Tomorrow go you down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Ziz, and you shall find them at the end of the brook, before the wilderness of Yeruel. You shall not need to fight in the battle. Set yourselves, stand you still, and see the salvation of Yahweh with you.
You shall not need to fight in the battle. I mean, you couldn't win anyway. So this ain't how I'm going to give you victory. This is the thing where we learn to respect every level of what Yahweh does and every person that Yahweh uses. Because the warrior is not as important in this situation as he has been in previous situations. Now the most unlikely individuals are the most important in this situation. Go ahead.
Yehuda and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Yahweh will be with you. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground. And all Yehuda and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before Yahweh, worshiping Yahweh.
Now, you still have to believe that the thing that was delivered unto you was true. Go ahead.
And the Levites of the children of the Kohathites and of the children of the Korahites stood up to praise Yahweh Elohim of Israel with a loud voice on high.
Mm-hmm.
And they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Hear me, O Yehuda, and you inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Yahweh your Elohim, so shall you be established. Believe his prophets, so shall you prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers unto Yahweh, and that should praise the beauty of holiness as they went out before the army, and to say, Hallelujah, for his mercy endures forever.
Uh-huh.
And when they began to sing and to praise, Yahweh set ambushments against the children of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, which were come against Yehuda, and they were smitten.
So as they began to sing, the other people began to falter and have war situations because of them singing. All of a sudden, now the singer is more important than the warrior. He said you ain't gonna need to fight in this. But what if we, in our own self-pride, believe that our job is more important?
Oh man, ain't nobody worried about him. He just sing. He's just a singer. I'm a warrior. You see this sword? Do I need to pull this thing up? Boy. What are you talking about? This brother got a harp. All right? You see that? Shh. You see that right there? You see this? Don't come to me about no singer, man. Guess what? The singer is about to deliver Israel. This is that thing where we learn the importance of everybody's job. See, your warrior thing ain't gonna help you right here. What if, it says these notes are about to come together as one. What if when the choir director said, hit this note, they said, no, I ain't gonna hit that note. I don't wanna hit that note. What if you hit the wrong note and the wrong people die? Read, bro.
Verse 23. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and to destroy them. And when they had made an end of And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another.
Mm-hmm.
And when Yehuda came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked onto the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped.
That's some deep singing. They had some Barry Whites and some DeBarges in there. You had a bro, they were hitting everything up in there, bro. Go ahead.
And when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies, and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering of the spoil, it was so much.
That's a real easy spoil gathering mission right there. They already dead. You just, oh, look at that necklace. Look at that. Go ahead.
And on the 4th day they assembled themselves in the valley of Berechiah, for there they blessed Yahweh. Therefore the name of the same place was called the valley of Berechiah unto this day. Then they returned, every man of Yehuda and Jerusalem, and Jehoshaphat in the forefront of them, to go again to Jerusalem with joy. For Yahweh had made them to rejoice over their enemies. And they came to Jerusalem with psalteries and harps and trumpets unto the house of Yah.
Uh-huh.
And the fear of Elohim was on all the kingdoms of those countries, when they had heard that Yahweh fought against the enemies of Israel. So the realm of Jehoshaphat was quiet, for his Elohim gave him rest round about.
His Elohim gave him rest round about. After this right there, nobody wanted to fight them.
Hey, man, them people can sing and you die. All right? We ain't messing with them people. All right? We leaving them people alone.
He said, hey, man, one of them Israelites took my stuff.
Well, they deserve to have it. We're not going over there. We ain't going over there. You ever seen somebody just sing, man, and people die? All right, then. We not messing with them people. I'll get you whatever that is. Hey, give him two of mine. Give him and send him on out of here. Don't go back over there.
Go ahead.
And Jehoshaphat reigned over Yehudi. He was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in the way of Asa his father, and departed not from it, doing that which was right in the sight of Yahweh.
Uh-huh.
Howbeit the high places were not taken away, for as yet the people had not prepared their hearts unto the Elohim of their fathers. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Jehu, the son of Hanani, who is mentioned in the book of the kings of Israel. And after this did Jehoshaphat, king of Yehuda, join himself with Ahaziah, king of Israel, who did very wickedly.
You see us? You see us? Yahweh does something absolutely wonderful with us, and then we want to put everybody on the same level. So now we now join with these other people. This is us right here. We'll join with anybody. So now you just mixed a person walking after righteousness with a person who does absolutely nothing but wickedness, and now you just put those two things together. Go ahead.
And he joined himself with him to make ships to go to Tarshish, and they made the ships in Ezon-Geber. Then Eleazar, the son of Dodavah of the Mershash, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because you have joined yourself with Ahaziah, Yahweh has broken your works. And the ships were broken, that they were not able to go to Tarshish.
And it was probably the best thing ever for him that Yahweh cut him off from being able to accomplish that. And the whole thing was just deciding that he's going to join with a wicked person. Because understand, you got Judah and Israel.
We said, well, we all Israelites. Does it matter what Israelite I join with?
It does, genius. 2 Chronicles chapter 5. They lucky all he did was break the ships. He could have broke them. You take all the good deeds of Yahweh and cast them underfoot because you're going to make a league with the wrong individuals. But they Israelites, though. Lake of fire gonna be full of Israelites. That's all you got? They Israelites? Second Chronicles chapter 5, and let's start at verse 1.
Thus all the work that Shlomo made for the house of Yahweh was finished. And Shlomo brought in all the things that David his father had dedicated, and the silver, and the gold, and all the instruments, put he among the treasures of the house of Elohim. Then Shlomo assembled the elders of Israel, and all the heads of the tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh out of the city of David, which is Zion. Wherefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast, which was in the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark. And they brought up the ark, and the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the holy vessels that were in the tabernacle. These did the priest and the Levites bring up. Also King Shlomo, and all the congregation of Israel that were assembled unto him before the ark, sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for multitude. And the priest brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahweh unto his place, to the oracle of the house, in the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubims. For the cherubims spread forth their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves of the ark, that the ends of the staves were seen from the ark before the oracle, but they were not seen without. And there it is unto this day. There was nothing in the ark, save the 2 tables which Moshe put therein at Horeb, when Yahweh made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. And it came to pass, when the priests were come out of the holy place, for all the priests that were present were sanctified, and did not then wait by course. Also the Levites, which were the singers, all of them of Asaph, of Heman, of Jeduthun, with their sons and their brethren, being arrayed in white linen, having cymbals and psalteries and harps, stood at the east end of the altar, and with them 120 priests sounding with trumpets.
So then when we understand and deal with this whole situation of the trumpets along with the singers, we then understand that this is not just something that Israel does. This is a very, very powerful situation. But we can't have singing without the word. You can't have one without the other, thinking that you're just going to sing your way to victory, but there ain't no culture that you're going to walk in doing so. See, Israel has an issue that we would go extreme left or extreme right. You got some that are so extreme that they do works, they do things, and they say, these singles in the song don't matter. Then you got some that all they want to do is sing. You go and watch some of these people's worship practice, and they sing for 2 hours. They done shimmered for 2 whole hours. Now they got song, they ain't got no word to go with it. It ain't gonna do you no good. You can't have one without the other. Go ahead.
And it came even to pass, as the trumpeters and singers were as one.
The trumpeters and the singers were as one. Go ahead.
To make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking Yahweh.
To be heard in praising and thanking Yahweh. Now imagine if we just get to the point where we say that ain't really important and we don't deal with it right. Yahweh gonna deal with us accordingly. Go ahead.
And when they lifted up their voice with the trumpets and cymbals and instruments of music, and praised Yahweh, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever, that then the house was filled with a cloud, even the house of Yah.
For when they did this, all right, it came to pass that as the trumpeters and the singers were as one, so to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking Yahweh, that means They worked at their craft. That means they didn't get mad every time it was time to have practice. Because they understand, hey, do you want to be good at this? Do you want to hit the same note? When that trumpet hit that note, you got to hit this note. Do you understand that? Or you just think that just happens, haphazardly?
We just gonna go out there and we just gonna let it come out. That's what we gonna do.
Right. And he gonna come out against you. Go ahead.
So that the priest could not stand to minister by reason of the cloud, for the glory of Yahweh had filled the house of Elohim.
All right. Did you that's at the end of that?
Yes.
Let's go to Psalms chapter 68. Psalm 68. And let's start that at verse 1.
Let Elohim arise, let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melts before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of Elohim. But let the righteous be glad. Let them rejoice before Elohim. Yes, let them exceedingly rejoice. Sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rides upon the heavens by his name Yah, and rejoice before him.
Right. So when they were going to the place to try to take out all the names, in certain places they miss. Because see, had they known, they would have definitely sing and rejoice, call him by his name Jehovah. They would have definitely thrown Jehovah in there. But you notice that even when you have a computer program and you writing some stuff and you'll say, they done put this Lord in here. Everywhere you see Lord, put YHWH. Sometimes your computer still miss them. Because it'll be like, oh, this one only had one capital L. And you swear you got all of them, and that go one. Right. Somebody missed that one. Because they would have definitely put Jehovah. Go ahead.
Verse 5. A father of the fatherless and a judge of the widows is Elohim in his holy habitation. Elohim sets the solitary in families. He bringeth out those which are bound with chains. But the rebellious dwell in a dry land. O Elohim, when you wenteth forth before your people, when you did march through the wilderness, the earth shook. The heavens also dropped at the presence of Elohim. Even Sinai itself was moved at the presence of Elohim, the El of Israel. Though, you, O Elohim, did send a plentiful rain, whereby you did confirm your inheritance when it was weary. Your congregation has dwelt therein. You, O Elohim, has prepared of your goodness for the poor. The Adonai gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it.
Great was the company of those that published it. How do you publish the word of Yahweh without saying it? How do you publish the name of Yahweh if you can't say the name? Go ahead.
Kings of armies did flee apace, and she that tarried at home divided the spoil. Though you have lean among the pots, yet shall you be as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her feathers with yellow gold. When the Almighty scattered kings in it, it was white as snow in Salmon. The hill of Elohim is as the hill of Bashan, and high hill as the hill of Bashan. Why leap you, you high hills? This is the hill which Elohim desires to dwell in. Yes, Yahweh will dwell in it forever. The chariots of Elohim are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Adonai is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place.
And because people possess that holy hill, they believe that they also possess the power of Yahweh. But what they possess is the heel of Yahweh during a time that Yahweh is disciplining the children of Israel. But when that disciplinary action is over, he gonna go and get those heathens out of his heel. Go ahead.
You have ascended on high. You have led captivity captive. You have received gifts for men. Yes, for the rebellious also, that Yahweh Elohim might dwell among them. Blessed be the Adonai, who daily loads us with benefits,
Mm-hmm.
even the Elohim of our salvation. He that is our Elohim is the El of salvation, and unto Yahweh the Adonai belongs the issues from death. But Elohim shall wound the head of his enemies, and the hairy scalp of such an one as goes on still in his trespasses.
Such a one that goes on still in his trespasses, meaning there ain't nothing you can tell him. You can talk if you want to, it ain't gonna change nothing, because they're gonna do what they want to do. Go ahead.
The Adonai said, I will bring again from Bashan, I will bring my people again from the depths of the sea, that your foot may be dipped in the blood of your enemies, and the tongue of your dogs in the same. They have seen your goings, O Elohim, even the goings of my Elohim, my king, in the sanctuary. The singers went before, the players on instruments followed after. Among them were the damsels playing with timbrels.
Mm-hmm.
Bless you, Elohim, in the congregations, even the Adonai, from the fountain of Israel.
And as we have read, these singers, these players on instruments, is not just a situation that takes place in the sanctuary. Are we even prepared for the day that we are in a military campaign and Yahweh asks us to sing? Will we be taken back?
What do you want me to sing? If I can't believe this, you want me to sing? I ain't no singer, I'm a warrior.
Well, you're going to die today, warrior. See, we take these things and we put them to where we think they ought to go. But when you go in the Word and you find out that that's in the wrong place, come outside of yourself and move it and put it where it go. Least you go into Yahweh's kingdom with a chip on your shoulder and some prejudice in your heart, and it gets you killed. Go ahead.
Verse 27, there is little Benjamin with their ruler, the princes of Yehuda and their council, the princes of Zebulun and the princes of Naphtali. Your Elohim has commanded your strength. Strengthen, O Elohim, that which you have wrought for us. Because of your temple at Jerusalem shall kings bring presents unto you.
Kings shall bring presents unto you. Do you understand that these very holy days that we are keeping, it says that all the nations will have to come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And if all the representatives from those kingdoms have to send somebody to bring an offering, those things are going to take care of the children of Israel. An offering from a king is a percentage of their gross national product. Do you understand how sizable a donation is that comes from a country? I mean, just on some twisted agreement, America gives Israel multi-million dollars per day. Go ahead.
Rebuke the company of spearmen, the multitude of the bulls, with the calves of the people, till every one submit himself with pieces of silver. Scatter you the people that delight in war.
Mm-hmm.
Princes shall come out of Egypt. Ethiopia shall soon stretch out her hands unto Elohim. Sing unto Elohim, you kingdoms of the earth. O sing praises unto the Adonai. To him that rides upon the heavens of heavens, which were of old. Lo, he does send out his voice, and that a mighty voice. Ascribe you strength unto Elohim. His excellency is over Israel, and his strength is in the clouds. O Elohim, you are terrible out of your holy places. The Elohim of Israel is he that gives strength and power unto his people. Bless the Elohim.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 42.
Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 1. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delights.
Mm-hmm.
I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles.
And understand something. I don't think people, really consider how many truly disliked Yeshua. And it never does occur to us that we could be on the wrong page. I keep telling people it matters how and what you do to Israel. Yeshua described these situations about what people did to Israel and what it did for their salvation. We have situations where a person who was not even amongst Israel didn't know anything about the commandments, but because they did right by Israel, they received their salvation. There's some things that we have to consider. Even with the spirit that was placed upon Yeshua. Man, there was people that straight hated Yeshua. And we're talking about Israelites. And in our mind, we all believe that if Yeshua was here today, we would all just love him and welcome him with open arms. And if you know anything about Israel, you know that that ain't so. Because as soon as Yeshua says something that they don't like, or implements a rule that cramps their style, you gonna find some interesting things come after that. You got people that's so supposed to be Israelites, and they show up in their own kind of way. What's gonna happen when they get to the point of Yeshua being in the place, and Yeshua say, "Oh, all right, come into my house. I'll make sure you tell your wife to wrap her head." What? How many people now step back now? Because now they were fine as long as everything worked out to where they didn't have to change anything. What happens when we get to a place where we have to change something? Go ahead.
Brother, part of the problem is people think the culture is only when you're inside this building.
Mm-hmm.
We're not understanding that we're relearning our culture, not just inside this building. This is supposed to be our way of life. You don't just put on your best duds to come in this building and have your loins covered because you're in this building. I'm supposed to see you out on the street and your loins are supposed to be covered. I'm supposed to see you out in the streets and you got on a skirt or a dress that comes below your knee and your head covered.
Yeah.
People are afraid to go into their workplaces and figure out how to keep the culture while they're even in the workplace. I've had to press those boundaries, and it worked out in my favor once they understand what you're about.
Exactly. Mine as well. Mine as well. And it's real difficult to deal with a situation, and you look at a sister and she was always covered, and then you're going through the airport and she walk in front of you with some tights that said "juicy" on the back. But I'm just crazy enough to, I went, "Hey, Juicy!" I'm sorry, Juicy bought Israel. The hell are you wearing? Right. Read, man.
He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall not fail, nor be discouraged, till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Thus says the Elohim Yahweh, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth and that which comes out of it, he that gives breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. I, Yahweh, have called you in righteousness, and will hold your hand, and will keep you, and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am Yahweh, that is my name. And my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Sing unto Yahweh a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth. You that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness and the cities thereof lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar does inhabit. Let the inhabitants of the rock sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory unto Yahweh, and declare his praise in the islands. Yahweh shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yes, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holden my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once.
Right. When you look at verse 14, I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. Because Yahweh tarries and waits at the development of a situation, it sometimes gives the people the belief that Yahweh either does not care or that he agrees with everything that's happening. He's pausing and giving everybody an opportunity to make their vote and their stance as to where they stand. And then when he starts crying like a travailing woman, you're talking about a woman in labor. So understand how this looks from the other side. You hear absolutely nothing from Yahweh. And when he does start, he is screaming at the top of his breath. To some people, that's absolutely.
Is Yahweh schizophrenic or something? What did? How did he go from nothing to screaming?
Oh, the nothing was giving everybody an opportunity to go ahead and agree or disagree. See, let's let everybody who's sympathetic to something, let me be quiet long enough for them to go ahead and talk their talk. See, so what Yahweh do is he stop talking and let everybody else talk. And then after a while, then he start talking. And when Yahweh start talking, ain't nobody else get no chance to talk. See, he let you talk first. He let you talk. He let you go from place to place and talk, whatever that is you got to say. He let you talk. You can get all your talk in. Then he start talking. The problem is when he start talking, things start happening. See, when they talking, ain't nothing moving but lips. When he starts talking, things start happening. Go ahead, brother.
No, and we know that it's written that, it says that his words doesn't return back unto him void.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many things that has to come to pass first, before he does his thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's no going around it.
None whatsoever. But you have that on so many different levels. You have that in the grand scheme of things, and then you also have that in the day-to-day things that we encounter in our lives. The Yahweh pauses. In that pause, he gives you an opportunity to see the heart of the individuals that are surrounding you. Go ahead.
In that whole statement, now will I cry like a travailing woman. I know you've been in the room with the birth of your children.
Yeah.
And I've been, for the brothers who ain't never been in the room, brother, listen, fingers have gotten broken in those rooms. And feelings have gotten broken.
Oh, boy, them
too.
feelings. Don't bring those in the delivery room. If you have any feelings, ask the nurse, is there a bag where I can put these? Because I don't need to take those in there. Because she hurt my feelings on a normal day. I know they are going to be hurt when I go in there. All right? So you go ahead and ask for that feeling bag right off the rip. Okay? So you talking about a travailing woman. Hey, man, it's people that might hear that woman like way down the hall going to the next floor. That's some serious business at that point. And when it's done, it's done. That's the amazing power and strength of a woman and going through that, when it's done, she might be tired, but she's sitting there talking like, hey now. But when that pain hit her, they heard her a couple floors up. Go ahead.
Verse 15. I'll make waste mountains and hills, and dry up all the herbs, and I'll make the rivers islands, and I'll dry up the pools, and I'll bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I'll lead them in paths that they have not known. I'll make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them.
I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. We so smart, we're going to find out the way beforehand. Go ahead.
They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed that trust in graven images, that they say to the molten images, you are our gods. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, that you may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as Yahweh's servant?
And you have to understand something. Yahweh will put you in a situation and completely blind you to other events within that situation to make sure that your heart is pure about the job that he's sending you to do. He won't even let you see that somebody has indignation against you. He won't even let you see it. And everybody else will be like, okay, he don't see that is him that they got a problem with. Yahweh won't let you see it. You don't need to see that yet. Because I need you to be pure in this job. I need you to do all of the things that are supposed to happen here, so that when righteous judgment is enacted, it's enacted in purity. Go ahead.
Seeing many things, which you observe not, opening the ears, but he heareth not. Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
Right, but how many people is that going to tick off? When he magnify the law, how many people are going to get upset?
We ain't had to do this before. Why we got to do it now?
When he magnifies the law, how many Israelites going to turn out their light? Interesting. Go ahead.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses.
Right. We know if that prison door is open, we know who's going to come running out of there. And see, that ain't the kind of stuff you hear coming from the Jewish. They claim to be the children of Israel, but none of the things that are written in this book can they possess and say, these things happen unto us. Show me. Show me the prison house that when you open it, a bunch of yarmulkes gonna come out of there. Where that prison at? Where's that? I can tell you what though. I can find you the courthouse where the people that wear the yarmulkes sent our people to prison. I can take you there. Go ahead.
They are for a prey, and none delivers, for a spoil, and none says, restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Yaakov for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers? Did not Yahweh, he against whom we have sinned?
Right. Who gave Yaakov for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Yahweh did. So if you got a problem, take up your fight with the right one. But see, Israel is real hypocritical when it comes down to that. We want to pick a fight with who we see. When we didn't like something Yahweh did, we picked a fight with Moshe. Israel do the same thing. No. Be all the way bad. Go ahead and pick that fight with Yahweh. Go ahead.
For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he has poured upon him the fury of his anger, and the strength of battle, and it has set him on fire round about, yet he knew not.
Right. You know how deep it is? to be on fire and don't even know you on fire? Go ahead.
And it burnt him, yet he laid it not to heart.
It burned him, and he laid it not to heart. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. First Corinthians chapter 15, and we're going to read verses 50 through 58.
First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Elohim, neither does corruption inherit incorruption.
So then there's going to have to be a change in state in us. If we are the exact same people that we've always been in this word and forever saying, oh, we're going to always be the same, we do not allow the Spirit to make changes in our heart and our mind, then we're going to have some issues. Go ahead.
Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
Even the dead hear the sound of the trumpet. When you talk about righteous judgment in Revelations, you find that even the angels are blowing their trumpet to bring forth righteous judgment on earth. So how disrespectful would it be for us not to move when we hear the sound of the trumpet? Go ahead.
For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to Elohim, which gives us the victory through our Adonai Yahshua the Messiah. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be you steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of Yahshua, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in Yahshua.
Do we know that? Do we know that our labor is not in vain? See, when you work and you don't receive right away, you start to think, this work, because we're accustomed to when we work, we get checked, right away. We're able to see, all right, I did 42 hours, and I look at my check, I see 42 hours on there. So we know that work wasn't in vain, because we can see the check. What happens when Yahweh delayeth the check? Because what we're working for is not a flesh and blood thing. Do we then begin to believe that the work is in vain because our payment ain't came quick enough? What we're working for is everlasting life and joy. Everybody gonna live forever. The question is, how we gonna live that forever? And that payment you just ain't gonna see right away. So let us keep those things in mind as we get closer to the holy days that we will be taking part of. That there's more and more understanding of why Yahweh is doing the things and has set up the things in the way that He has set them up. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.